Sports at Night is recorded in front of a non-existent studio audience. Welcome to another exciting episode of Sports at Night. Real fans, real talk, and I got the OGC with me, baby. That's right. The original cast is back in action. As always, of course, I'm your host, Todd Knight, and I got Jevon Superman Miller with me, and Will Michael Trahan?
Yep, I'm back.
Bro, where you been, man?
I've been off. Been getting my
You've been off your game is what you've been.
I've been getting my head together for training camp.
Beautifulness. Well, I'm glad somebody is.
Oh, and by the way, it's Jevon Clark Kent Miller today.
Y'all can see that right there. It's just, I mean, it's a little dark, but it's there. The S is always there.
It's always
if it's not,
there.
then it's a little hoarse. So.
Even underneath the suit.
Exactly.
It's always there.
Bingo. As always, of course, our show is brought to you by Paul McMurray State Farm, where the only thing better than the policies themselves is the service you'll be provided with. And what else?
His hair. And I got one for you, Paul.
my hair kind of fly today, man.
Oh, it is fly today, man. You're glowing today.
I'm feeling like Richie Rich right now.
You're glowing today, man. I don't know what it is. You got that glow today, man.
You should have seen actually one of our first takes that we were doing on this. And thank God that this is actually a recording, because I was looking totally Uncle Fester earlier, except with a wig on. So, yeah, I'm glad that we totally got that stuff covered up.
Casper the Friendly Knight.
That's beautiful. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Will, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's football season again. We had the Hall of Fame game. That means it's time for football.
Yeah.
First game. It was terrible. No starters played, but
that was horrible.
It was ushering in a new football season, and it's a beautiful thing.
I know.
It was Baltimore and who?
Baltimore and Chicago.
Good God.
Two irrelevant teams.
Two garbage teams. As a matter of fact.
Mediocre at best.
Matter of fact, can I say Chicago, I think, is the wackest team there is in the NFL right now? You
don't believe in Trubisky?
No. Boy, that team sucks. And Baltimore, good God, man, what are they gonna do with their quarterback situation? You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. That's for another show.
So you're getting, since you didn't get a chance to do anything with the NFC and the AFC North, you're getting your 2 cents in right now.
Oh, I'm getting it in,
on
man.
at least two of those teams.
Yeah. Real talk.
So we're gonna hop on. We almost never ever talk about college football, and I think there's a good reason for that. I mean, none of us sucks. It's not that it sucks. It's just that it's not really our bread and butter. It's more of our.
It's fun to watch.
It's our dessert after we're full from eating our entree. That's what it really comes down to.
It's a cracker.
But there's something that definitely needs to be mentioned, because it's all over the sports news right now. And, of course, we're talking about the situation involving Ohio State Buckeyes head coach Urban Meyer. The past seems to be following him. And it's causing a bit of – there's an open investigation that's going on right now. And the university has put him on administrative leave. This is one of the best coaches in the entire country. Mm-hmm. High school, college, or pros. Okay. He's one of the best.
Okay.
And right now, whenever I look at the situation involving Ohio State, I immediately think about 3 programs that have gone through some very, very harsh investigations of their own in the past. Of course, Miami back in the day, everything that was going on with them. I mean, it was an absolute travesty, the things that were happening at that university. USC back in the early 2000s. Dude,
I remember that.
They still haven't recovered from that.
Yeah.
Not completely, they haven't. And then, of course, most recently with Penn State and the whole Sandusky thing.
You took the words out of my mouth.
I mean, there's... If it had not been for Joe Paterno's replacement and some guy that you fortunately were able to pick up in the draft just a few months ago, Penn State would still be one of those gutter teams in the Big Ten Conference. Well, now Ohio State looks like they could be in not a gutter team, but a team that doesn't have anything to play for.
Well, let's not forget. I mean, Baylor went through something similar.
Art Briles, yeah,
Art Briles,
in that program.
They were a perennial contender in the Big 12. I mean, it was Baylor, Oklahoma, TCU, every year competing. And,
Yep.
And, you know, that guy got ousted from all of football. He
Yeah.
can't even get a job in Canada for football, you know? So
It's
and
bad.
now they're bottom
It's really
dwellers,
bad.
You know, so, I mean, stuff like this, it's a black eye on the sport. It's a black eye on your
Hence the
program.
caption.
Yeah. It's really sad to see this stuff going on with people of power that have so much responsibility. You know, they're responsible for an entire program full of, you know, amenable kids and, you know, their coaches. You know, you got to be a man before anything. And, you know, men don't hit women and men don't cover that stuff up.
It's a big problem that goes on when it comes to college programs, period. They're not regulated quite like the NFL. See, the NFL, they stay on top of you. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got woman beaters and murderers and all that kind of stuff, but they stay on top of it. And them cats got a lot to lose. In these programs, they completely rely on the coach to make these decisions and to do everything. They don't just run up behind them and keep an eye on them like the NFL does.
And
the
everything
NFL have you on a short leash. And when you got too far, they pull you. They reel you back.
You're right. You're absolutely right
what I
about that. For those of you that are not quite familiar with the story, let's dive into a little bit of details on this. Okay, this is dating back all the way to Urban Meyer's days at Florida. Okay, he had during his tenure over there, 31 players were arrested while he was the head coach at the University of Florida.
Jesus,
that's absolutely just asinine. If that was an NFL team, that would be 60% of your roster.
That's a jail dorm.
Yeah. That's bad. That's really bad. I mean, we had things going on from battery to abuse, all kinds of different things. Of course, everybody immediately thinks about Aaron Hernandez, the former Patriots tight end. Murder right there.
Yeah, murder.
And I guess you could say a lesser offense, Chris Rainey most recently. There was a text that he had sent to his girlfriend, and I'm going to quote this. I know this is a family-friendly show, but it is intended for mature audiences also. Mm-hmm. The text itself says, "I'm going to kill you, bitch."
Woo!
And I'm just going verbatim on that.
And we have had enough football players that have tried to kill their girlfriends, and over the years.
Yeah, it's seriously gotten out of hand, and Urban Meyer has not adjusted to these new standards, these new regulations, because this is something that whenever he was at UF was not frowned upon near as harshly as what it is now. And I think it needs to be. And he knew, reports galore have come in that he knew all about his assistant coach beating on his wife.
Wow.
He knew about it for over 3 years. He knew about it over at the University of Florida. He's known about it since he went to Ohio State. Nothing has changed on that, other than marital status for the convicted assistant coach. Mm-hmm. And with all that, I'm wondering if Ohio State is going to be made an example of. I think that it's going to be where they're going to lose scholarship opportunities for athletes coming out of high school.
Yeah.
it could be where they're bowl sanctioned, to where, I mean, even if they go undefeated, you're not allowed to play in a bowl game, man.
Man.
I mean, it's sad, and I'm just really curious. And I'm going to turn this one over to you real quick, Jevon. Speaking from a player's perspective, and coming out, young, impressionable kid coming out of high school, and you're a 5-star athlete. I mean, you got schools just lined up all over the place for you. Your Ohio States, your Michigans, your LSU's, your USC's, Miami's, your Georgia's. I mean, if you're sitting there in Ohio State's one of your teams, up until just a few days ago, I mean, what are you thinking about them at this point?
Man, dude, as an athlete, you always want to learn from the best. And, of course, as we know, they do have a great coaching staff over there. And you have a chance to grow as a player. But, man, you don't want to go get caught up in that, man, especially if you have a promising career. Or you know that you can make it to the next level. You don't want to go jump into a storm and get swept up.
No, definitely not.
And I wouldn't, as a player, I look at their program and say to myself, yeah, it's great, but it's gunk at the same time. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go jump into that gunk, man. I'm going to go somewhere where I know that I can also get coached and I have an opportunity to get somewhere to the next level.
For sure.
Because if they're going to get mandated and got like you saying, you really don't have much of a chance.
Yeah, I'd be very, very surprised if the NCAA does not come down very, very hard on Ohio State.
Oh, real talk, man. And who and how many recruiters? Who's gonna be looking over there at that place, man?
There's a lot of kids that are gonna pull back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna uncommit to Ohio State. Yeah, I'm gonna look to go elsewhere. Alabama, Oklahoma. I mean, of course you would throw that in there.
LSU.
It was gonna happen sooner or later,
Lincoln
right?
Riley is the future, man. And on a more football related note, you know who they're saying OSU is already lining up to take Urban Meyer's spot if they have to fire him?
I'm listening.
Big Game
Bob Stoops.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that would be interesting.
I would hate it, and I hope it doesn't happen. Bob Stoops retired. He needs to stay retired.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how this thing goes.
Whew, man, you just dropped a bomb on me, man.
That was definitely a bomb.
I mean, I know I've been living underneath the rock lately, man, because I did not know about all this crap, man. This is horrible, man. This is what makes me just like sometimes want to just wash my hands of sports, period. Sometimes when you start seeing dumb crap like this happen, man, you just be like, man.
Well, see, I think the problem or the solution is that I think this stuff's been going on the whole time.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
Now we just have so many social media and self-proclaimed journalists and news outlets that you can't hide anything nowadays.
No, you really can't. I mean, you've got to be forthcoming because, I mean, just sweeping things under the rug. I mean, these people are going in there with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, I mean, you would think like Joe Paterno, Art Briles at the time, any of those coaches that seemed untouchable are now, just... Yeah. They were made examples of.
It
doesn't matter how much power you have.
I got a great quote for this. You can't tuck a tush without someone taking a look.
I'm going to leave that for y'all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm putting that on the shirt, baby.
Wow. Okay. And like you were talking about, getting back onto a more football-related note here, the Hall of Fame game happened just less than 48 hours ago, and I definitely want to give a congratulations to the 2018 NFL Hall of Fame class. I mean, definitely some amazing athletes that we all had a pleasure to watch.
Absolutely.
And there's three of us here, so we're each going to talk about our own guy. There's going to be a little bit of a surprise. Some surprises thrown in there, I'm sure. But, of course, there's guys like Randy Moss, T.O., guys like that. And Jevon, I'm going to turn it over to you first. Who are you looking at as your most celebrated Hall of Famer that's coming in here right now?
Okay, I'm going to make this as quick as I can. All right. So in 2012 was a great season, right? In 2012, we saw the return of Peyton Manning, which was an amazing return. which he would have gotten MVP that year if it wasn't for an amazing Adrian Peterson returning from a bad injury.
Real talk.
Running over 2,000 yards. So but Peyton had a great season. Peterson had a great season, but there was also another great season that happened that exact same year that I think made a man that was great even greater.
And who are we talking about?
I am talking about the great Ray Lewis. Look, let me tell you something, man. Baltimore wasn't even. People had thought that they weren't going to even make the playoffs that year, man.
Yeah.
They were bombing. Ray got injured. It was all bad. And then Ray came and told everybody and said, you know what, this is going to be my last season. And that team that he had led just meshed together, man, and put together an impressive winning streak. Came all the way from the wild card, beat a well put together Denver team, beat a very tough New England
Dude,
team.
Nice. Are you getting this? Are you seeing this?
I'm looking at it, man, but I'm like telling a great story right now.
True
man.
that. Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I'm just getting caught up.
I'm feeling Ray right now, man. I'm feeling this dude like raised me. This dude like my father. Look at that. See, that's the Ray Lewis I'm talking about. Then he went to the Super Bowl and beat an extremely tough 49ers team.
Nice.
And I'm here to tell you right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Oh, by the way, sorry, Josh, but y'all was supposed to get blowed out in that Super Bowl too. You better be lucky those lights went out and you got your second win. But
it was the Illuminati.
It was the Illuminati. But the right team still ended up winning.
Absolutely.
Man, Ray Lewis is just amazing. Look at this, man. Look how he laying these cats out. You can't even hit people like that no more. They want you to play patty cake with them these days. They don't even want you to hit nobody no more. Ray couldn't even exist in today's football. This man couldn't even exist in today's football. Too much of a man. You know what I mean? They need you to be a little girl in football these days.
My dad, who we'll be talking about later on, he started talking about, that they got you wearing skirts now on the field.
They do. But, did you hear when Ray was talking? They did an interview with him, and he said, man, there's players that still call him today for advice. Today.
Yeah.
This man been retired for what, like 5 years now?
Yeah.
And they still calling him right now today, needing advice from him. The great Peyton Manning sat outside of his locker room for a whole hour just to let him know. After we lost our playoff game to Baltimore, sat outside of his locker room for an hour just to tell him that it's been his greatest pleasure playing against this.
And Peyton Manning and Ray Lewis are two of the most cerebral athletes that I've ever seen play football.
Very much, man. Very much. This dude made Peyton use that big head of his many times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had to outthink this guy.
Yeah.
I will say, Ray Lewis had laid the hardest hit that I've ever seen in an NFL game. To this day, he laid out Kellen Winslow Jr. when he played for the Browns.
Oh, man.
He hit him so hard that it was like 1 second he was upright and then instant transmission on the ground. It was ridiculous, man. And Ray Lewis is one of, when I used to play high school football, which wasn't that long ago, we would watch this guy's pregame speeches to get ourselves pumped up. I mean,
real talk.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
He had influence on every level of the game.
No question about that.
Too bad that he was just such a terrible announcer.
And let me go even further. This man had so much controversy surrounding him, man, and he still always shined. His first Super Bowl, this man was on trial for a murder case.
And then he settled out of court.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, like OJ, we all know he did it, but
no doubt about that.
That's not the point. You know what I mean? Look, man, we love Ray, man. We love Ray. Ray pumps us up, man. Ray was like our dad screaming at us, telling us that we could be whatever we wanted to be and that you had to be a real man to go out here and play a real man sport. And you know what? It ain't even about football.
Ray Lewis was awesome. Ray Lewis was so exciting.
Man, there was people that would listen to Ray Lewis freaking speeches, even when they play basketball, baseball. Man, they get pumped up.
And man, he's so grounded in his faith in the Lord, and it's awesome to see somebody that's such a passionate,
And hold on 1 second. All that faith came after a man got dead. So let me because Ray Lewis wasn't all that much into God like he is like after that murder case.
Well,
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, murder do bring you closer to the Lord. But I'm just saying,
if a murder case doesn't make you see the light, nothing will.
Yeah, no doubt.
Somebody else had to see the light for you to see the light.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. All right.
At least he did get a chance to kind of turn his life around.
He did,
which is a great thing, because a lot of these athletes never get that opportunity or just simply choose to ignore it.
I mean, look at Aaron Hernandez.
Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
All these guys that were bad people that just never changed and caught up with him eventually.
For sure.
Steve McNair, all these guys
it's
that
just
went
so
way too
unfortunate.
soon, man. They just went way too soon, and I'm
For
glad
no doubt about that.
Ray Lewis. I mean, because when he was going through all that murder stuff, I was 6 years old, so I wasn't aware of all the stuff. You know, when he beat the Giants in the Super Bowl the first time, I wasn't a sports fan yet. So the Ray Lewis that I got was the post turnaround, the post when he really became the heart and soul of Baltimore. You know, he was really the first Raven, you know, because they didn't really have a marquee name or a marquee player that people still buy Ray Lewis jerseys. That's probably, you know, and he got Joe Flacco like $60 million. That guy in the playoffs. I mean, he was hurt that whole year. Came back in the playoffs and just balled out. The whole team just overshot.
And do not speak of Joe Wacko in my presence, by the way. With that
we can only talk about him for one more year because that's about as long as he's going to have a starting position.
Good.
Yeah.
With that old lucky ass
I think all of us can agree on that part.
Yes, he definitely capitalized on
Joe,
the
you
Super Bowl.
suck. That old lucky pass, man. You suck, Joe. You know what I mean? We should have kicked your butt, man. We should have went to the Super Bowl that year. Joe, my boy would have had 3 rings on his finger. Okay. 2 rings on his finger with us, man. But no, it's because of you and that old Hail Mary, hanky-danky, wanky pass, man. Who does that?
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, he does. Don't worry, you're out of there, bro.
Just relax and deadpan.
Joe Flacco.
Who you got on your Hall of Fame, man?
Man, I know we talked all about how Ray Lewis was the linebacker, but I got to tell you, man, Ray Lewis was undersized.
He was.
But one guy who he would take his helmet off and intimidate the hell out of everybody was Brian Urlacher.
Urlacher.
This guy was what it meant to be a freaking linebacker. Like, you think middle linebacker, you think, damn, 54. Like, that number is famous now because of him and Lance Briggs were in 55. I always thought when I was growing up it was so cool. 54, 55, perennial Pro Bowlers, just leading a hell of a linebacker.
Look at this.
Man. Ooh. Chicago went to the Super Bowl and
got
Peyton Manning his first ring, right?
Yeah. But
they went on
the back of Urlacher, though.
Oh, absolutely. That defense carried them. They had who was it? Kyle Orton? Who was their quarterback? No, it was somebody else.
It was
Rex Grossman.
It was Rex Grossman.
Yes.
And that dude is irrelevant. Like, you haven't. I'm the first person to mention that guy's name in years.
It's gross to mention Rex Grossman.
It was that defense and Devin Hester, and that was the only reason that they got through the playoffs that year. And man, he was just relentless. Like, it was 3 down line. Like, now you have specialty linebackers. They come off the field. Mm-hmm. This guy was a throwback. This guy would have succeeded in any era of football.
Not this era, though.
Well, here's what I will say. We talking about Ray Lewis being, you know, the first real staple at for the entire, you know, franchise and everything. Mm-hmm. Urlacher came from a long lineage of great linebackers in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Butkus, of course, Singletary. Mm-hmm. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on.
There's a bunch of mad white boys that wanted to knock your
Singletary's
head
not
out.
White?
No, I know Singletary ain't white, but the first person that you Butkus is white, ain't he?
Butkus is the hardest hitting linebacker ever.
A mad white boy.
That guy.
Butkus was nuts. He was crazy.
That guy
crazy,
single-handedly had the best football and the best adult film name ever.
Let me tell you something, man. Chicago breeds big, mad, destructive white boys, man, that will knock your head in the dirt. And I don't care what you say. You do not want to play Chicago when it comes to hard hitting. They suck now, but I mean, back then it was just.
And you know what's crazy? This guy came out of college as a safety.
What?
Yeah, New Mexico State. He played safety. And I will tell you that when I was in high school, that was Brian Urlacher. Junior high and high school, that was Urlacher's heyday. That was when he was, a 99 on Madden every year. Just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
killing it,
Yes.
man.
I
He
do
was
remember those
just
days.
wonderful.
I
Like, he
remember
was
those
fun to
days.
watch. Like, Chicago wasn't necessarily fun to watch, but you put on that when they were on defense, man, it was hard to score because you had those Lance Briggs, them two, and then you had the guy Tommy Hansen or Tommy Davis, one of the two from Oklahoma. You had this
Tommy Harris.
that was his
Yes.
name, from Oklahoma. This defense was stout, man. And then
Yeah.
during
It really
his later
was.
It
career,
really was.
he played with Peppers. He had Peanut Tillman, Tim Jennings, all those guys. They had a the whole time he was there, their defense wasn't awful. And it seems like once he left, the whole identity of the Chicago Bears changed,
It
which
really
was
did.
sad. I mean, and
It
towards
did.
the end of his career, he had slowed down, and he was more of a between the tackle boxes.
That's
but I
every
say,
linebacker,
man,
though.
he's got hair now, and it's crazy to see him with hair. Because I'll tell you, when I was in high school, I felt like when he took his helmet off and he had the shaved head and that scowl on his face,
And
man,
the steam would just
yes. I shaved
raising
my
off of his
head just
head.
because of him. I shaved my head just to look as intimidating as Mr. Urlacher did when he played on Sundays. It was just one of those. He was one of those players, man.
Well, as
like-
an African American, when I saw him take that helmet off and I seen that bald head, I said, "Oh my God, that Nazi's gonna kill me." You know what I mean? Or he's gonna kill somebody.
He's
you know what I mean?
ruthless. He's absolutely ruthless.
Man,
he was a
You know
treasure
what?
to
You know what
watch.
else he and Ray Lewis have in common with each other?
What's that?
Being a cover athlete
Oh yeah.
to a video game.
Yep.
Of course, I mean Ray
That's
Lewis
very true.
being on the cover of Madden, and Brian Urlacher was on the cover of NFL 2K3.
yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. But you know what, man?
Yeah.
You like I said, you're talking about two guys with extreme intensity. The only thing I think Urlacher may lack is he doesn't have as much passion as a Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was more like Urlacher. His presence was
Yeah.
very dangerous. But
That was his defining characteristic.
but
where
Ray Lewis-
where Ray Lewis was concerned. Excuse me.
yeah, Ray Lewis, his passion made everybody better.
Mm.
But just think about this. Think about what he did for Chicago, because I have a stat for you.
Bring
And,
it.
Chicago's had a long list of Hall of Famers and great players that have made up those teams. I mean, they only have one Super Bowl, which was a travesty. But
with the greatest defense ever. put
absolutely,
together.
absolutely.
Yeah, the 85 Bears.
Brian Urlacher
legendary.
is third all time with most starts for the Chicago Bears, behind Sweetness, Walter Payton, and Olin Kreutz, who is one of the best offensive linemen to ever
Wow.
play.
Two huge names.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Two huge names.
Absolutely.
That's big,
He
man.
is the face of the 2000s Bears.
That's beautiful.
It's a
man.
shame
No
that he
doubt
didn't get
about
to
that.
win a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning outdid him.
Big Peyton.
But,
That's his first one. Thank you, Urlacher. Thank you, bro.
and
Appreciate it.
I have an affinity for players that play with one team. They don't team jump. No offense to your boy Peyton, but
What? Hey,
it wasn't his call. He broke his neck. It's fine. But
A broken neck
Ray
is not
Lewis,
fine.
Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, these guys, you never saw them in another uniform, and I think there's something special to that.
real quick. You know how Peyton beat them in the bowl? He knew that Urlacher and them was a great defense, so he ran the ball more than he threw, because he only threw for 250-some yards. He made sure to run the ball and move them back so he can have room to throw the ball.
Yep.
He knew what he had to do to beat those dudes, because he knew he was going against an extremely dangerous defense and an extremely dangerous player.
Yes.
Wasn't that,
Thank you to Joseph Adai.
Yeah, from
Thank you,
LSU.
LSU alumni.
Thank you so
LSU.
much, Adai, man. You really helped Peyton get that bowl for
That was
sure.
literally the best thing you did in your career.
God dang. Okay. Well, you guys have gotten a chance to talk about
Come
your Hall of
on.
Famers.
Bring it, baby.
And unsurprisingly, given the cast here, I'm sticking defense also.
Bring it.
And we'll be talking about this cat here. We'll be talking about the team that this cat played on. But man, I hated I hated seeing him play, but at the same time I loved it.
Right.
Because, and the reason I'm talking about Brian Dawkins, the safety for the Philadelphia Eagles.
As a Giants fan, I can agree with you.
Will,
I mean,
will
he was
light you
yes,
up, yo.
exactly. He's one of those guys watching him where you hate playing against him, but my God, do you wish he was on your team?
Like a camp
Absolutely.
chancellor.
I mean, just amazing. I mean, this guy was all of 6 foot, 210 pounds, but this man was a straight little beast on the field, man. He was a kamikaze. He was a killer.
Boom!
In the greatest sporting sense remotely possible. This man would absolutely just jack you up. Second round pick out of Clemson. This was a tiger that quickly earned his wings.
Oh, nice.
And
pick.
I mean, it's just. You sit there. I mean, look at this. Look at this.
That's a lot. That's a lot of penalties.
It's
sport,
nowadays,
it would be a lot
In
of
today's
penalties,
sport,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But sitting there, I mean, whenever you think about the 2000s, there's 2 safeties that you immediately think of. One of which has the same number.
Ed
Of course,
Reed.
Ed Reed,
Ed
yes.
Reed.
And Troy Polamalu, exactly.
Malu.
But this guy was the one that, unless you got to see him play against your team twice a year,
You didn't really
you didn't really
appreciate
get him.
Yeah, when he was
appreciate
on the
it.
injury report, everybody's
I mean-
day went a little better.
Yeah.
He was nicknamed Weapon X for Wolverine.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a whole thing on here, and we're not going to show it or anything, but there's plenty of YouTube videos that feature that and everything, and they have the old school Wolverine music from the cartoon and everything playing with this, and it's awesome. I totally recommend going in there watching it.
He's what
I mean, God,
he's what Bob
Man.
Sanders could have been if he stayed healthy.
Absolutely.
No,
You know
no
what
doubt.
I mean? Bob Sanders could have been just like this guy, man, but he couldn't stay healthy.
This is textbook. To me, this is textbook.
Oh.
This is how you play the safety position.
Oh God.
You know who kind of reminds me of him flying around hitting people like that? My boy Landon Collins. He's a little bigger.
I was gonna say T.J. Ward, but okay.
TJ Ward's garbage.
What? The man won a Super Bowl. How you gonna call him garbage?
I mean, so did.
And he also put Rob Gronkowski on his buttocks.
So did
And-
Joe Flacco.
Hey,
but,
man.
but didn't he put Rob on his butt?
Dude, Rob is. You just chop him down, he falls.
Yo, look here real quick. Whenever he was a player, because Dawkins played in the league for 16 years,
Yeah.
13 with
That's
the Philadelphia Eagles, 3 of which with your Broncos to
Yes,
finish
he-
off.
yes, he did.
And he
He-
never really lost it.
Oh, no,
'Cause
he was
he was
amazing
playing
with us,
great
man.
when he was
Oh,
playing
yeah.
with Denver,
He's in our Hall of Fame. He's in the Colorado Hall of Fame.
which is amazing.
He
Yeah.
wasn't
3
for-
seasons,
yeah,
and he achieved that
He
as a
wasn't-
defensive player.
Wasn't forced to retire. He just chose to walk away.
Exactly,
right.
and he could have kept playing.
Absolutely.
Most guys at their 16th year, especially at such a physical position,
Oh, yeah, would
and being such a
definitely be
physical
burnt out by
player,
now.
he'd have been done.
Yeah.
He would have been straight done, but not Dawkins. And as much as it pains me to say it, the guy, I mean, he never got a Super Bowl ring as a player,
That's sad.
but
Seattle
from
put it on.
2016 up until just a few months ago, he was part of Philadelphia's staff. So he managed to get himself a Super Bowl ring,
Yeah, amen.
which is absolutely fantastic.
You know,
because
you deserve it,
as
brother.
much as I hate the team that he played for all those years and all the things he did to my Cowboys, all the things he did to your New York Giants,
Yeah.
All
the
the
man
things he did for my
deserved
Broncos.
the hardware, and I'm glad that he got it. I really am. You know, speaking as a fan and as an analyst, I'm glad that he got the hardware.
I can personally say that watching him and Brandon Jacobs hit each other, that was one of the funnest things
the
to watch.
unstoppable
Yes.
force meets the immovable object.
Absolutely.
Boom.
I mean, it's a diesel truck running into a brick wall. That's what that is.
Absolutely. The guy.
Carnage.
I mean, the guy. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, there's
Yeah.
really nothing much to say.
Yeah,
The guy's
and
a Hall of Famer.
The man deserves it. I mean,
Yeah.
did he have a lot of statistical accolades and everything? No, not in the sense that you would really think about it. But the man was all over the field, and he was the heart and soul of Philly's defense for over a decade.
Yep.
And this
Yeah.
man is still celebrated in that city to this day.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
man.
Philadelphia is one of those cities that if you're great, you're going to be idolized forever because
Exactly.
You know, it's one of those sports towns that are crazy.
Hell, Rocky Balboa is a fictional character, and he's still idolized over there.
well,
You know?
he put Philly on the map.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But you know, not to get off subject, but I really do love the Rocky movies because that's how Philly fighters really do fight. They're
Yep.
gritty, rough, hard fighters. You know what I mean? And Hopkins, the boxer Hopkins, he shows you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's one of those gritty fighters.
Smoking Joe Frazier, another one from
Another
Philly.
from
Yeah.
yeah. They all heart. You know,
Yep.
and most of them always become champions.
So
Yep.
I have to ask, and I'm pulling an audible on this one.
Okay.
What do you guys think of T.O. not going to the enshrinement?
I think that's T.O. being T.O.
I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. You know what, T.O.? Let Jevon be, as a controversial figure, let me be the one to tell you, thank you, sir. You know what? You don't have to conform to these a-holes. You know what I mean? These are the same punks that don't want you kneeling down on the field because they don't want you to show your right freedom of speech. You know what I mean? So you don't have to deal with the NFL. You haven't dealt with them. You did what you wanted to do this whole time. They done pooped on you, and you pooped on them back. Good for you. You had one more chance to do it too. Thank you, T.
Well, he pooped on the star. I mean, for me, a couple times. And thank you, George Teague, for laying his ass out at that point.
Yeah,
I don't care if he was a Cowboy or not.
I understood, man, but it was so cool, though, man. That was so cool for T.O. to do that.
Well, I think that they didn't want to make. He's second all time, second or third all time for all the receiving stats.
Behind only
the
Jerry
great
Rice.
Behind the great one.
Yeah.
Him and Randy Moss who are going in together.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the fact that the pettiness of the Hall of Fame voters didn't want to put him in first ballot last year just because of how he treated the media and how much of a diva he was. I mean, good for him going to Tennessee, Chattanooga, having a separate Hall of Fame. Like, that's awesome to me. Like, I'm usually the guy who's all for, like, do your job, keep your mouth shut. But, man, T.O. he's out there, and he's actually one of the guys who are training with these young receivers. Odell Beckham trained with him this summer. Julio Jones, all these guys who are big names.
And he's trying to get into the CFL right now.
Have you seen him? He looks like he did when he played. He was still playing. I mean, he
ran a 4.4.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just a couple months ago.
I think with T.O., man, like that. I hated him because he played for the Eagles and the Cowboys. Just hated him forever.
And 49ers.
And watching him cry, talking about Tony Romo, was fantastic. It was just wonderful. But, man, that guy
for you, baby.
played in the Super Bowl on a broken foot. That's
6 weeks removed from a broken leg, actually.
Insane that he played that way.
He's still, even though things went so bad in Philly at the end, he's still revered for that.
Absolutely.
T.O. would be me. I would be T.O. I would be that player that everybody hates because I wouldn't give a crap. I would do whatever the heck I wanted to do, and if you didn't like it, so be it. You can kiss my bottom. And that's what.
As long as you produced, I wouldn't care.
Exactly.
And it's cool that he came from such a small school, because would any of us have ever heard of
a
Tennessee,
third-round pick
Chattanooga?
from Tennessee, Chattanooga?
None of us would ever heard of that school.
That's remarkable.
Nowhere. A Dennis Rodman type of cat, man, that you just never heard of, come from some place that's just end up being one of the best.
Is it crazy that the top 3 wide receivers in history are from Mississippi Valley State, Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Marshall?
That is a great fact to point out.
Schools,
I love
man.
that. That's
awesome.
Man. Hey, don't worry about it. That's how Seattle recruits, though. Seattle know how to do that, man. Go after them small school players.
We're gonna do something a little different this week, and I know I'm completely pulling a 180.
Here we go. What you got for us, baby?
Today's a very special day. Certainly for myself and the entire family and everything, and it's interesting that we're going to be doing the NFC East as well as the AFC East today, because I didn't intend for it to work out this way, but this is how it's happening. Today would have been my dad's 62nd birthday. And, of course, everybody who's, a fan of the show, everybody who's seen the show, everybody who is close to our hearts knows that he fought, and as far as I'm concerned, won his battle with pancreatic cancer for almost 2 years, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. This man did everything. I mean, he represents football just as much as the NFL Shield does, in my mind and in my heart. And I mean, I wanted to put on some facts on there, just some little fun little tidbits on there. He had been a fan of the team ever since their inaugural season back in 1960, where the only game that they did not lose was a tie against the New York Giants, which is amazing. His favorite all-time Cowboy, Mr. Captain America himself, Roger the Dodger Staubach. And he was a 12th round pick from the Navy. Won the Heisman. Crazy to think about. And here's a fun fact that nobody knows, but I thought it'd be really, really cool to share with everybody. He was born in Port Arthur, Texas. The same place that Jimmy Johnson was born. That very same Jimmy that took the team from 1-15 to back-to-back Super Bowls in 2 years.
Easily.
Excuse me, in four years. Just amazing.
And would have done it again if Jerry Jones would have left him the heck alone.
Well, that's something else that I'll get at here. His favorite Cowboys memory was then whenever they won the Super Bowl, their very first Super Bowl, Super Bowl VI, against the Miami Dolphins. It was the final score was 27-3, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
And this, of course, led to the Miami Dolphins winning back-to-back Super Bowls afterwards, including the 72 season, which they still remain the only undefeated team.
Yes.
And his worst memory, Tom Landry getting fired. I mean, my dad absolutely was all about Tom Landry.
That was a bunch of people's worst Cowboys memory.
Oh, no doubt about that. I mean, everybody, this man bled blue and silver to the core. His favorite Cowboy that is currently on the roster, Dak Prescott. And understandably so. This man is responsible for taking over the reins of the team. He's responsible for being the new light at the end of the tunnel that hopefully will bring us numero 6.
I got a problem with that, but
I'm sure that you do.
That's a
but
later.
I definitely wanted to extend a very special happy birthday. We love you, Dad. We miss you. And man, it gets hard to think about the fact that this is the first one that I've had without you. But without you, there would be no Sports at Night. I wouldn't be the same person that I am right now. I thank you. I love you. And I really appreciate everything that you did for me over the years. Everything. I know that neither of you guys got a chance to, I know you never met him, and I know you never got a chance to really interact with him very much.
I met him when I came over here that day to look at the game, and he was sitting over here, and we talked for a second. Yeah, he's a cool cat, man. He really was. Really was
one
a
of the
cool
best.
cat. And that was just a brief moment, man. And he was cowboy down, of course.
I wish you could have known him whenever he was healthy. Yeah. I really wish that. And I wish my wife could have known him whenever he was healthy for a much longer stretch of time.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. With this being his birthday and everything, and we're going to be talking about the Cowboys later. It just seemed, kind of like just a beautiful accident that it worked out this way, and I'm so very glad that it did.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on to the AFC East breakdown and predictions. We finally get 3 people to do this again since the first week that we started doing this. This has been a 4-part series, and today we get the leftovers. You know what I mean? We get the AFC East. We get the NFC East. We're going to start with the AFC East. I'm going to start with my worst one, and I'm actually going to say the Miami Dolphins.
You gonna say the Dolphins?
I'm going to say the Dolphins. I don't feel like, Tannehill's still their quarterback, right? And
coming off a torn ACL.
A torn ACL. They don't have an answer behind him. Is Matt Moore still there as his backup?
I believe so.
That's you're talking about two very, very pedestrian quality quarterbacks at best. The Dolphins do not have Jarvis Landry anymore. They signed a Frank Gore, who I get it is kind of an ageless wonder, but how much more does this guy have in the tank?
Gore is a beast. He got at least 1 or 2 more years in him.
Yeah,
he's still strong.
The defense doesn't have Ndamukong Suh anymore,
That's
so they don't have that as part of their identity. Cameron Wake, as good as he's been for all these years, he's starting to get, as my dad would say, a little long in the tooth. And then we have their first round pick. I will give them this: Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama. I do love the pick. I think he's a fantastic player that can play really multiple spots in their secondary, but he is a rookie. And there's going to, as smart as he is, as good as he is, there's still a learning curve that's attached to that. And Adam Gase benefited so heavily from what Peyton did for him in Denver.
Yeah, big time.
And for Gase, yeah, exactly. For Gase to really be successful, he's going to need a quarterback, and they still don't have one.
Yeah.
Miami, I'm going to surprise Miami. I'm going to say is finishing 4-12. I'm going to go that low on them.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Okay, what do you got on them then,
No,
Jay? Where do you see the Dolphins?
I think they can at least win 7 to 8 games just because of Adam Gase. I think Adam Gase is a really good coach.
Okay.
I think he's a good coach, and yeah, Tannehill coming off surgery, but if he'll sit back and listen to Adam Gase, he'll thrive. You know what I mean? Yeah, they are long in the tooth, but I can't put them last because they do got a good coaching staff over there. And they won't be last. It's a team worse than them. But I think that I think they'll be okay, man. They won't definitely win a whole bunch of games. Maybe 7, maybe 8.
Okay.
I'd give them that.
What do you got, Trahan?
I think the Dolphins are a boring pedestrian team. I mean, Tannehill's never really shown that he was able to carry a franchise on his back.
True.
But he's never been, just the worst quarterback in the league either.
True.
Adam Gase is a brilliant offensive mind. What he did in Chicago, where he had Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I can take it or leave it. I like what they did as far as a culture standpoint. They got rid of Sue. They got rid of Landry. They got rid of guys that were cancers to the locker room. And no offense to Jarvis Landry, he's caught 400 balls in 4 years, which is the most through 4 years of any player. But the guy averages like 7 yards a catch. He's a one-trick pony, and they replaced him with Danny Amendola, who is a hell of a slot receiver in his own right. I think that
He can't stay healthy, though.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. But I think what they're doing as far as changing the culture, I will say they got to draft Steele, and Laramie Tunsil was going number 1 overall until about, an hour before the draft. And then he fell to the Dolphins.
I remember that.
They traded Mike Pouncey away to the Chargers. I mean, some of the stuff that they've done, they've gotten rid of their talent, but I think they're trying to remake the culture because
I think it's questionable
chaotic.
Moves.
Yeah.
Some of that's questionable.
I mean, I think Adam Gase and the front office just want players that are team mentality, and nobody's ever accused Sue or Landry of being a team player. They're all me players. So I respect that. As far as on the field, I don't think that they're going to be very good, but they're not going to be as bad as the Bills.
Exactly.
I think the Bills are going to be far and away the worst team in the NFL.
That's why I was going with that. That's why I can't put them last.
Okay,
Yeah.
so since we're on the subject, let's go to the Buffalo Bills then.
Okay.
And Will, I'm going to kick it right back off to you. Where do you what are your thoughts on Buffalo?
Well, Buffalo is they got their franchise guy in Josh Allen, which is a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a very good head coach in Sean McDermott. I was rooting for him to get the Giants job when Tom Coughlin got fired. So I like what they're doing on defense too. Tre'Davious White was very good last year.
Absolutely.
Micah Hyde was very good last year.
Balled out.
If they can take it, if the defensive end out of Clemson that they drafted, Shaq Lawson, if he can step up, they traded away Reggie Ragland to the Chiefs. They've had some questionable front office moves, but I say what they have, Jerry Hughes on the line. They traded away Marcel Darius, who was, again, not a very team-oriented player, but they still have the ageless wonder Kyle Williams plugging up that middle out of Ruston High School. Go Kyle Williams.
And feeding them cows down that way.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, they do have one of the best fan bases in the NFL, so they're always going to be fun.
Unquestionably.
The Bills Mafia is one of the best.
Man, anyone that is sitting that much cold to watch them watch that sucky team play, you got to be a great fan.
But on the offense is where I think they're going to struggle the most. Sean McDermott is a defensive coach. I think their defense will be okay. They're in a division with the Patriots, which honestly, that's really the only offense that you're scared of. The Dolphins and the Jets are pedestrian to below
At
average.
best,
Yes.
yeah.
And so I think that their defense will be okay. They'll be middle of the pack, but their offense, Richie Incognito was their best offensive lineman. He's gone. They traded Cordy Glenn to the Bengals. That was their left tackle. He's gone.
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy is in a bit of a situation to where he could end up on the commissioner's exempt list and not be able to play. And if they don't have LaShawn McCoy, you know who their backup is? Chris Ivory.
The former Jet himself. Okay.
Exactly. And he's been the
If the
Jets
Jets
and the
don't want
Jaguar.
him?
Exactly. So
I don't know, man.
and Josh Allen coming into that situation. I mean, they got A.J. McCarron, who's a career backup. Nathan Peterman, who was terrible last year. They traded away Tyrod Taylor because they didn't think that he was the answer.
Stupid.
And they got Josh Allen, which is pretty much their only bright spot on offense. They traded for Kelvin Benjamin. Maybe he'll be back to his pre-ACL tear form.
I like
then-
Tremaine Edmonds.
Tremaine Evans was
I like
a good
that pick on their
he
defense.
was a good pick. He's kind of a. They don't know what he's going to be in the
A bit of a
NFL.
tweener.
Yeah, he could be a pass rusher, cover. I mean, he's very athletic. It's very good. Very good player. But
He was only 19
he's
years old when he got
still-
drafted too.
Still a rookie.
Yeah.
You got to give
Still
him
a baby.
some lumps. And will he be there when they start, or will Sean McDermott be there by the time Edmonds flourishes into what he could be? Who knows? Their offense might get him fired. But I think Josh Allen he's set up to fail this year. So I hope the Bills just stick it out with A.J. McCarron, because you put Josh Allen back there with no offensive
It'll
line,
ruin him.
He's going to get shell-shocked.
Yeah, there's too many great quarterbacks that have come out of college that had all kinds of promise in the world, only to get into a
Bad situation.
David
an
Carr.
offensive line. Yeah,
God, he was terrible.
yeah. He really put that entire mindset on the map right there.
Absolutely.
There's only very few quarterbacks that can go into for a lack of a word, a shitty situation and come out squeaky clean.
Russell Wilson.
And winning. Russell Wilson.
Russell
Peyton
Wilson,
Manning.
yeah.
I mean,
Russell Wilson's
3 and-
offensive line is still terrible, and he's been there for
he's
what,
still,
four or 5
flourishes.
years.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Man, you
So-
know what? I can't.
But
Yo,
I do think that the Bills will have the number 1 pick next year. I believe that in my heart.
Yeah.
I just got
Okay.
one.
Put it on the board.
I'm gonna let him talk. I'm gonna let him talk about this because I'm really simple about this, man. The AFC East has to be the most boringest damn division there is. It's boring. It's whack. All the teams are subpar except for the Patriots. The Bills ain't going nowhere. They're gonna be last. Yeah, they defense, like Trahan said, their defense can recover, but they don't have enough on offense to do anything.
Especially if LaShawn McCoy's out.
Yeah.
That's their bread and butter. And if
Yeah.
he's out, it's going to be
Well, I mean,
season.
if you can't put points on the board, then what good is you? What good are you?
Yeah, and I will make one slight little modification, I guess, and that is definitely pending the LaShawn McCoy investigation. If he is out for any extended period of time, they absolutely will finish last in that division. Not Miami.
Exactly.
But I do feel like if he's there, he at least single-handedly allows them to win enough games to not get them back into the playoffs, obviously,
But to
get
get
them
above
to the
Miami.
6-10, 7-9 mark.
Yeah.
I think that's something that could happen.
He was their leading receiver and rusher last year, which is sad.
Yeah,
It really is.
That's asking one man to do way too much.
Yep.
And he's on the wrong side of 30. So
Sadly, he is. That brings me to what I guess would be considered my surprise team right now, the
God,
Jets.
don't stop.
I'm going to say
God.
the Jets.
No, I like that though, Todd.
No,
I like that, man. The
no.
Jets are good,
the
dude.
Jets are not
They're
good.
not good. No,
Jets are not
I'm
good.
I'm with Todd. Go with it.
No. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
I'm not saying they're good. They're subpar.
I think that the Jets surprised a lot of people last year because everybody, whenever they were looking at last year, they were like, "This is going to be maybe one of the worst teams ever in terms of their roster." And then all of a sudden, they started to actually put some W's together.
The Jets
and I
are
was
so
surprised
bad.
with that.
The Jets are so bad they can't even tank correctly. They're so bad they can't even lose right.
Oh, because they put up a fight. That's why they so bad because they actually.
I have a lot of feelings on. I'll let you two get out because I have a lot of feelings on the New York
I don't have
Jets.
a feeling about the AFC East at all. Honestly, I think I hate this.
Well, I'm just going to get what I got to say about the Jets out first.
stink.
You already talked about Chris Ivory, and everything. He's not there. Whatever. I can't believe that Sam Darnold fell to the Jets, if you want to call it that. I mean, 3rd overall pick and you fall, whatever. I think that has an opportunity to be a very, very good pick for them.
Yes.
He's definitely going to start. I would figure somewhere around week 6, week 7. I think that's. I don't think he's going to get rushed into opening day. As much as the fan base would absolutely love that to happen, I don't think that would be to his benefit.
Patience.
Well, right now he's the 3rd best quarterback on the depth chart.
Which says a lot.
That says a lot with a quarterback deep draft this year.
And what I'm looking at on this particular issue is Jamal Adams on their defense. He's looking. He actually lived up to the hype because whenever he was coming out, everybody was just hailing this guy as Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu. We talked about Polamalu early on the show. You mentioned Bob Sanders as well.
Oh yeah, Bob was great.
And this guy actually is living up to that. And I think that they're doing something kind of different. They're actually building from the outside in on their defense, which is kind of a different approach. Yeah. And I'm somewhat fascinated by that. I love the fact that they have their franchise quarterback now. Now, I don't believe, whenever I was talking about the Jets finishing, in a different spot in that division, I'm not saying that they're going to be a playoff team. I still think. It's 7-9, 8-8 at absolute best. I think that's their tipping point.
Okay.
Because the Patriots are still going to, as much as we don't want to admit it, they're going to win the division. I mean, it's
that division
that's
it's the most lopsided division in football.
No question about that.
That's why I hate we talking about it.
It's the most uncompetitive division in all of football.
And you can blame Tom Brady for that because
the double
Brady ain't the one that put together these garbage teams.
I'm just saying, think about how many front offices, think about how many GMs, head coaches have been to those 3 teams while Brady's been there. And you think that none of them could do it? No, it's been Brady. He's had some influence. Him and Belichick have ruined some careers, that's for sure. And
no question about
Todd
that.
Bowles is the next one out. I'll tell you that.
Well, man, listen, you could be right. Can I end mine right now?
Get this off your chest, bro.
Let me get out my chest. Let me end because I'm gonna shut the hell up and I'm gonna let y'all run with this thing because man, I hate this division. This division is
well, we're almost done with it.
It's a Tom Brady hater.
The Patriots are going to win this division hands down. It's too easy. It's been too easy. It's been too easy for too many damn years, man. Tom Brady has flourished in a weak division just like LeBron flourished in a weak East. You get to sit here and you play in this easy division and you go ahead and get your wins way up and then you go right on into the playoff riding a high note. It's easy.
I believe that LeBron came from 3-1 to be one of the best teams ever.
Man, that's garbage. Anyway, back to what I'm saying. We're not here to talk about LeBron whack James, bro. Which one thing me and President Trump actually have in common. We actually agree that LeBron needs to shut the hell up. Okay, now back to what I'm saying. All right, now where was I? Oh, I was talking about the Patriots.
Talking about greatness.
I was talking about whackness. How can you not be awesome and be on a winning streak when you play garbage teams 2 times? You got 3 teams that you play 2 times a year, and you know you're gonna beat them both times.
Well,
you're gonna beat Miami twice. You're gonna beat the Jets twice. You're gonna beat the Bills twice, and you're gonna be on a high note. That's how many wins is that
That's
already?
6 already.
That's 6 wins already, dude.
I have a question for you,
come
Jevon.
on, man, get out of here.
I have one question for you.
Fuck out of here.
Who has been the AFC representative in the Super Bowl for the past 2 years? Just answer me that.
Bro, once again, bro, I have already explained something, man. You're hot coming out the gate, bro. You're hot out the gate. You got 6 wins already underneath your belt. You going against teams that had to struggle and fight in their divisions all the way until the playoffs, and by the time you get to them, they're so injured that the Patriots just flick them out the way. And then you go to the Super Bowl and lose.
They beat Atlanta.
Because Atlanta tanked. Because Atlanta garbage.
I really feel like no matter what the Patriots do, you're gonna hate it. So there's no fighting it.
Man, forget them dudes, man. They got 6 wins already, man. That's already half the season, man.
I'm gonna hop in here now and just say this real quick. Obviously, the Patriots are going to win the division. We all can agree on that.
Yeah.
This, as far as the talent is concerned, this is, I think, the worst that the Patriots have fielded as far as the talent level is concerned in the past several years. They just lost their defensive coordinator to a head coaching position to the Detroit Lions. That's one thing to look at,
which is huge for Detroit.
Yeah, they don't have what's his face, the hero cornerback that was benched before last year's Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler. He's a Tennessee Titan.
Which I still don't understand.
I don't think anybody understands.
No,
I don't understand that at all.
I think that is just simply a Belichick ego thing right there. You're like, I can win without him.
I mean,
and he thinks that with a lot of guys.
Well, I mean, look at it. He got rid of Rodney Harrison. He got rid of Jamie Collins. He got rid of Chandler Jones. He's Vince Wilfork. All these guys. Nobody's untouchable. Richard Seymour, Logan Mankins, all these guys. Nobody except for TB12 is untouchable. And I'll tell you this.
And now look at this, dude. Their backup situation. Let's just say, for instance, that Tom Brady goes down because
it's happened.
I don't condone dirty play. But if I'm a defensive player, I'm taking a shot at that son of a bitch.
And as soon as I catch him wide open, I'm laying.
There's no doubt about that.
I'm laying him out.
And I know you're going to get thrown out of the game, but you know what? If you reshape the entire landscape of the NFL in doing so, guess what? You changed history right then and there. Even if you left a blemish on it, you changed history.
Well, I say,
and I don't want him to get hurt, but
sounds like you're condoning taking cheap shots at Tom Brady.
I would do no such thing.
I do not condone anything, but I do condone knocking that son of a bitch if he open. Knock him clean up in the air and flip his ass up like
this is
like
the most
pancake.
This is the most vulgar we've ever been on this show. I mean,
well, we got
a
disclosure now, and y'all the one chose to bring me on here for the AFC East. Now, you know I should have been on this damn show, man. You know I was going to catch an attitude.
I got to say, man, I do think that this will be Tom Brady's last year.
It definitely needs to be.
I think so.
I know he's saying that he wants to play until 45. But this offseason has been a little weird for Brady. I mean,
it really has, man.
You know, he for the first time he's talked about, well, maybe I should spend more time with my family. Maybe I should, because that's really the only thing that's going to stop him. The guy keeps himself in wonderful, wonderful shape. The guy eats like, the discipline on him is ridiculous.
And just because he eats carrots don't make him super healthy, man.
Well,
you're right though. He is a very disciplined guy. I'll give you that.
He is very committed to his craft, and I think this offseason's been the first that you've seen the Patriots, model of consistency. You've seen some cracks. I mean, guys who have left have thrown shots. Amendola, Cassius Marsh, and now you got Edelman is suspended. Gronk thought about retiring. Like it's been definitely a weird offseason.
It's been quite tumultuous for them.
Absolutely, they lost their franchise left tackle.
And you also
Nate Solder,
think about too, man,
who is on your team.
Think about the fact that also they've been talking about this bickering between Brady and Belichick.
Absolutely, and I think that Belichick, both of their egos are so high that it's going to be a little. I don't think they're going to let it affect the actual gameplay. But I think that Tom Brady's not going to do Belichick any more favors. Tom Brady's been taking pay cuts for 10 years to get his teams better. And I think now he's kind of just to the point where he's won 5 Super Bowls. He's already considered the GOAT. I don't really think that he's got anything left to prove. I think if Tom Brady
what is there left to do?
I think if Tom Brady were to retire tomorrow,
turds is not the GOAT.
Everybody except for Jevon would admire him for being the greatest of his era.
Not the greatest
of his era.
Not the freaking GOAT.
Well,
he bested Peyton Manning in every way.
Manning, because he got his fucking coach.
We've got to break this up. We've got to break this up. We've got to break this up right now.
Yeah, let's go NFC.
Let's get on the NFC East.
Yeah, please.
So to the AFC East, I'm going to take this out of my wife's hands. Bye, Felicia.
Beat me later.
Go ahead and say all
You
that.
guys
right
made
there.
Jevon say a bad word.
Hey man, that's because I get tired of listening to
It
that,
happens.
That
It
turd,
happens.
man. I get tired of that dude, man. Dude,
On to the NFC East.
I know
Here
what
we
I'm
go,
getting you
guys.
for Christmas.
All right.
And please don't.
Subscription to TB12.
I'm gonna throw it on the fire.
Anyway, NFC East. All right. I got Washington finished at the bottom,
Of course.
and it doesn't. It's not necessarily. It's not really like a slap on them or anything.
I feel bad.
This
I just-
division
just-
is just crazy.
It's
Every
very
year.
very much a toss up. It's very 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 much a toss up.
I feel bad
from
for Alex Smith, man.
and
yeah.
we talked a lot about Alex Smith last week.
Yeah.
And he's going into he's kind of going into a really strange situation.
Yeah.
And I think that Jay Gruden, John's younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
I think coaching him I think it's, depending on your perspective, it's a little bit of an upgrade over Kirk Cousins.
Oh, big.
I think.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
It is, man.
Not talent wise, but leadership wise.
Yeah. Veteran wise.
I'm saying that. Now here's where I'm gonna hop off a little bit.
And Alex can win too, though.
They don't. I'm not in line with their receiving situation. As far as tight end is concerned, Jordan Reed, he's a fine young talent, but he can't ever stay healthy. When he's on the field and he's playing, he's good, but he cannot stay healthy.
Hey, I'll say his backup though, Vernon Davis. Over half of Vernon Davis's career receptions have came from Alex Smith. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he gets his
Resurgence.
boy back.
Yeah.
You're right about
There
that.
you go, man. I'm telling you.
I'll give you that one.
I'm telling you.
I think that the best situation that Alex can look to right now is say, who do I have behind me? And I'm not talking about on the QB depth chart. I'm talking about in the backfield. Darius Geis, I think that has an opportunity to be one of the steals of the draft. Geis falling into the second round and Washington scooping him up, I think is huge for them.
that was a good get.
It really was.
If they can control his personality, well, not control his personality, but if they can mold him to be a team guy,
Mm-hmm.
I think he is going to be one of the best steals of that draft, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean,
Because he was talking about being number 2 behind Saquon, and people taking him, in the 10 to 15 range in the draft. I mean, the Steelers, I think, should have taken him instead of Tremaine Edmonds' brother, who
that was definitely a reach.
was a weird
but,
pick.
What do we know, right?
Yeah.
Defensively, Josh Norman is still one of the better cornerbacks in the league. I don't
agree.
think he's
He's a
I don't think
garbage
he's
human being.
Yeah, he
Just
is.
a garbage
I
human.
don't think he's a
He-
shutdown corner so much now. At least not in my opinion.
I think so. I think he's still
I don't
got
know,
it.
man.
I think he's somewhat overpaid, but that's something that Washington does.
Albert Hainsworth.
Albert Hainsworth definitely
God.
comes to mind. The worst free agent signing in NFL history, arguably.
Yeah.
I do. Ryan Kerrigan.
Ryan Kerrigan's good, and he's getting old though.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
And he's coming off of injuries.
Long
Yeah.
hair, too.
A little bit of a problem, a little bit of an issue.
they do have an interesting defensive line though. They drafted Jonathan Allen last year.
Yes.
That guy, I mean,
yes.
he didn't play but 5 games, but he was very revered at Alabama for being awesome. Didn't they draft another Alabama defensive lineman?
If you just go off the name, you'll love it. Payne.
Yeah, Deron
Yeah.
Payne. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I do have some thoughts on their offense. I think Washington, if they can pull it together, I mean, they've been one of the most injured teams in the past couple of years. It's been-
And Trent Williams, their left tackle. I mean, whenever
That
he's
guy is
he's
a
on,
monster.
he's one of, if not the best.
Well, I think as a whole, the Redskins' offensive line is one of the top 5 in the NFL when healthy. But last year they had all 5 of their starters were hurt.
Yeah,
at
they were
different times.
completely
That
decimated.
game against
Yes.
Kansas City, man, I think they lost almost every damn player they had.
Well,
every starter.
They have 3 of the biggest maulers on the offensive line. I mean, they got Trent Williams, who's top 3 offensive tackles in the game. They got
Unquestionably.
Brandon Scherf, who is
From
a
Iowa.
monster, yes. And then they got Morgan Moses on the other side, who's no slouch.
From University of Virginia.
I can't remember
Boom.
the other 2 guys, but they don't have a weak spot as far
They don't.
as
You're right.
they're healthy, and that bodes well for Alex Smith because he's got some mobility. So if he's got a decent offensive line in front of him, and then he's got Josh Johnson, who has been injured, but people are saying this training camp, and obviously it's training camp, so everybody looks the best they've ever looked.
Oh, of course.
But they're saying that Dotson has come out and looked
16
recharged.
games,
and
man.
then you got Darius Guice, who can be a 3-down thumper, and then you have Chris Thompson, who is one of the better receiving running backs in the entire NFL before he fractured his fibula last year.
Mm-hmm.
So they have depth on the offense. Their tight end situation. Jordan Reed's one of the top 3 tight ends when he's healthy, and then Vernon Davis he's still got it. I mean, the guy's old.
I'm glad he out of Denver, damn it.
He's still got it.
That dude, he got a case of the drops, man. He can have a big case of the drops.
Well, I mean, playing in Denver,
What, the altitude?
Well, I mean, he was way down on the depth chart. If you play behind Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders,
True.
No, ain't nobody worried about you.
And then the boy he hated being in the slot, and that's what we wanted him. We needed him to be in the slot. He don't like getting hit across the middle.
Doesn't play to his strengths.
No, yeah.
I put that on the coaches.
But I think
right there.
if Jay Gruden can the defense is where the questions are. I mean, Norman is, you can put him on an island, but they traded their other guy for Alex Smith. They traded him to the Chiefs. I can't remember his name, but he was pretty good last year. They had Rashawn Breeland, who
he's garbage.
Yeah, he's not very
he's
good.
garbage.
They have, I don't even know one of their linebackers ever since
London Fletcher.
Yeah, ever since he retired, they're really haven't.
I can't tell you the linebackers either, man.
I'll sum it all up. We're putting them last but
they're last in a good division.
They're last with a question mark because we're saying that if they're healthy, they can be a contender.
Well, yeah. The NFC East is always a toss-up. I mean, I don't think the same team has won it 2 years in a row in like 10 years.
That's very
longer
true.
than that.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened
crazy.
since 2003.
It's crazy.
Or 2004 rather. Excuse me.
That's very
that was
true.
when the Eagles won it back-to-back years.
Yep, and they went to the Super Bowl. Yep.
All right, yeah. So they're last with a question mark.
I'll say 7-9 for Washington.
I mean, that seems to be where they're
6 and 10, 7 and 9.
Yeah.
And if healthy, I give them 8 and 8. If they
It's
stay
possible.
healthy, they
It's
can go
definitely
8 and 8.
possible.
If they pull it all together, I think they can be a sneaky number 3 team because there's going either the Giants or the Cowboys. One of those 2 teams are going to disappoint heavily this year. And I hate to say it because that's my team and your team, but one of those teams seems to always disappoint when they have high expectations. I mean, look at last year. The Giants were freaking 2-4 or 3 and 13.
I actually think the Giants are gonna ball out this year.
I do too.
I actually think they're gonna ball out, and I don't think neither one of those teams is gonna tank. Actually, I think they're gonna have a hard fight for their division. I believe.
So let's talk about the Giants. Let's talk about the New York Giants.
Yeah, let's talk
I'm
about
gonna try
it.
to take my biased cap off.
Take it off.
Try
baby.
to look through it
Fair
through
enough.
regular glasses. I'll go first since it is my team. If that's good with you, because I'll let y'all talk garbage about them.
As host, I'll allow it.
Hey, I have never talked garbage about your team. You forget Eli plays for that team, and I like Eli.
Well, let's start with Eli. I think last year Eli kept his mouth shut when in reality there was a lot of turmoil. Mm-hmm. The head coach was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
The only thing worse than his coaching style was his hair.
Mustache. Don't forget that 70s porn star mustache.
I enjoy a
either,
good
man.
mustache every now and again. Yeah. I enjoy it's a throwback. I'll give the nod.
He need to talk to Paul McMurray.
But Jesus, that hair.
Oh, to fix the hair. Okay,
He switched from the butt part to the I'm a mafia guy. Let me slick this shit back. Oh man, people made fun of him so bad, and rightly so.
We're gonna be beeping this show constantly, man. Get ready for edit, man.
I'm sorry. This, but Ben
only.
McAdoo should not have a job in the NFL higher than tight ends coach. That should be where it ends. No more offensive coordinator. Damn sure is not going to be a head coach again. That guy is just a joke. He benched Eli, and instead of starting your rookie, you start Geno Smith. I'm going to try not to say the F word.
Oh, my God.
Geno Smith.
I could see the censorship right
my
there.
God, man.
I mean, that was
the most ignorant move.
If you bench Eli, you at least need to look for the future. Where the hell is Geno now? Not with the Giants, I'll tell you that.
Not in the league as far as I'm thinking.
And honestly, them firing Jerry Reese has been a long time coming. They've been one of the worst drafting teams for the past 10 years. I mean,
genomes.
I read a stat that I think it's like 35 out of 53 players that they've drafted in the past 10 years not only are not with the team, are not in the NFL anymore.
That's a problem.
And when you're missing by that amount of just garbage picks, I mean, Jevon Hosley in the 3rd round, David Wilson in the 1st round, albeit Wilson got hurt and couldn't play anymore. But just there's a long list of guys that are just like strikeout, 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 strikeout. And what kept Reese hired for as long as they did is he would find Jason Pierre-Paul or Linval Joseph or Odell Beckham or Landon Collins. He would get lucky. He would get lucky.
The rings.
Well, the first Super Bowl ring was not his. That was Ernie Accorsi's Super Bowl ring because he stepped in the year after Accorsi put that offensive line together.
Thank you, Mr. Fact Check.
Put in Plaxico Burress. I don't count Jerry Reese, but I'm glad they brought in Dave Gettleman. Dave Gettleman has changed the drafting culture, and a lot of people hated what he did in Carolina as far as like he always seemed to draft front 7 guys. He didn't want to pay Josh Norman.
Football's
sent his ass packing.
Won and lost in the trenches, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think what he did, like drafting Saquon, that's a bold move at number 2. You pass up Darnold, you pass up Rosen, you pass up Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. You pass up, and you even pass up the best pass rusher, Bradley Chubb. You pass up the guard who got drafted by the Colts. I can't remember. Quentin Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
You pass
who you
up
were
all-
extremely high on.
I love Quentin Nelson. I still think he's going to be top 3 players in this draft. The Colts got a good draft pick there.
Finally.
So I think Saquon could be what moves the needle on New York's pedestrian offense. That's the best running back they've had since Tiki Barber retired. And it's not
easily.
Not even close.
Easily.
And I think they brought in Nate Solder. Will Hernandez. That was my favorite pick of the entire draft.
I love that pick. Absolutely. I would have loved for Dallas to have gotten him in the 2nd round.
I thought that pick was not going to get past the Patriots.
Todd.
I thought Hernandez was either going to go to the Patriots or one of those, the Saints, one of those teams before they traded up. But more about that later.
Anyway.
But I think Hernandez has been in 5 fights since OTAs. Hernandez went into New York, one of the most storied franchises in the NFL, and went straight prison rules. He looked at the biggest mother effer on the defensive line, Damon Harrison, and said, I'm going to fight you, and swung his helmet at him. Like, he straight up went to the biggest guy, prison rules, and punked him. And so Hernandez is going to be a monster. I think he's going to be one of those guards that we're like, don't mess with that guy. Like if you're in a bar fight, Hernandez is the one you're calling.
No doubt.
And then they're switching to a 3-4.
Like
I think Olivier Vernon. I think their defense is going to be where the question marks are because they got rid of Pierre-Paul.
Even though they have a lot of very, very highly priced guys.
Absolutely. Well, they got rid of Pierre-Paul.
But they still have Janoris Jenkins.
He's coming off injury. OV is. I think he's going to shine this year. Damon Harrison's one of the best run defenders in the NFL.
Right.
Landon Collins is coming off a broken arm, which shouldn't affect his legs, which is what you need to play safety, legs and shoulders. So I think he'll be, back to his Pro Bowl form. The cornerback depth is concerning, but Eli Apple has showed some steps in going in the right direction. The cornerback depth is, they used a 3rd round pick on the Sam Beal in the supplemental draft, and he immediately got hurt his first day of practice on IR.
Awesome.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I think Shermer brings some stability to a franchise that has needed stability since they got rid of Coughlin.
The Giants is another team with that question mark.
Absolutely.
Well, here we go again. With
Absolutely.
another team.
But if Odell comes back healthy, Sterling Shepard is a monster in the slot. Evan Ingram could be the best tight end in the NFL in 5 years. We could be talking about Gronkowski being retired and Ingram picking up. That guy's
I don't know about
athlete.
that because don't forget we still got Kelsey still out there, man, and he's amazing.
Kelsey's good.
Kelsey's
pretty good.
He's still a top. Kelsey is definitely a top 5.
But I think Evan Ingram's athleticism. That guy's a wide receiver playing tight end. He's Jimmy Graham before the patellar tendon.
Okay.
I think, and so I think all these guys in the offensive line is going to be better. It's hard to be worse than you were last year. Saquon's gonna ball out. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley's gonna ball out.
He is.
They're a question mark if they can stay
If
healthy.
Eli can pull it together, if Eli can look like 2012 Eli instead of 2017 Eli, I think that this team has a chance to sneak into a wild card spot. I think Philly's pretty much got that locked down. But I think there could be 3 playoff teams in this division.
Okay.
That's possible. It is possible.
Yeah,
For me, the Giants, like you said, put a question mark by them. This is a team that could finish 11-5. It could finish 6-10. I mean, there's so many
Such a
variables
wide
in
range,
that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where to put them in.
And I'm not really sure about them either.
I don't know where to put them, honestly.
So much of it is they have solidified the offensive line now, which will do wonders for a very, very immobilized Eli Manning.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Saquon Barkley. That is a win now move right
Absolutely,
there. Because
yes.
if they like what you're talking about, if they were thinking about the future, quarterback absolutely would have been what they would have snatched
Darnold,
up.
Rosen, or Allen, for
Yeah,
sure.
no question about that.
For sure.
And Saquon Barkley, we were talking about him, pre-draft and post-draft. This is the best running back coming out of college since probably Adrian Peterson.
Absolutely.
And that is extremely high praise. But if there's anybody that can actually live up to it, it's Barkley. And then, like you talked about, Sterling Shepard. If Odell Beckham is healthy, watch out there. You got Evan Ingram, who my dad absolutely loved coming out of college, and I was just like, I don't want a tight end. But the man can be. I mean, now look at our tight end situation. It's one of the worst in the league.
Absolutely.
And that's keeping it. That's keeping it real. I hate saying it, but it's the truth.
Retire, man. You had one of the greatest to ever do it. Retire, man, in the tight end position.
Exactly. Giants are a team that could be all over the map. They could surprise and win the division. They could disappoint and be last.
Whew.
Just like we were talking about with their record and everything. So that's kind of where I stand on the Giants. There's a lot that's up in the air for them. I do think that them switching to a 3-4 defense rather than a 4-3 will help the production of guys like Olivier Vernon, because it'll make it where he's actually getting
standing up.
Yeah, he'll get more of a running start
Which is where he
rather than
started.
coming out of a 3-point
And
stance.
when he played in Miami, that's the defense.
Bingo.
That he started
Bingo.
with.
So what about the Cowboys?
That's where we're next.
We're going to them
We're
Cats.
going to the Cowboys right now, right here. I'm smiling because I've been waiting to do it.
Go ahead, baby. Let it ride.
Okay.
Swing that ball.
Dallas, I do think, finishes second in the division.
Okay.
And I think it is a 7-9 situation at worst. I think it is an 11-5 situation at best. And so much of that is going to be predicated on the wide receivers, who you already talked about our depth chart on that. Teams are going to be stacking the box to stop Zeke, who is, and you're looking at an 8-man front on a consistent basis. Our offensive line has been revamped. It is retooled. I love the fact we have a healthy Tyron Smith now. For now, unfortunately. Hopefully he stays that way the rest of the year.
Absolutely. That guy's a monster.
Exactly. I mean, he's right up there with Trent Williams.
He got Adrian Claiborne when he got injured. Claiborne had 6 sacks.
I know. Yeah, because his backup,
In one
Chad
game.
Green, was a freaking joke.
Oh, man.
You could have gotten 3 sacks against Green that day, bro. But
get me out there on it.
man, I have to say this. I think Dak has really taken to heart everything that happened last year. He's not the kind of quarterback that can single-handedly put the team on his back. I'm just speaking from an analytical standpoint right now, more so than as a fan.
True.
And what I've heard them using a lot of the 10 personnel in practice, which for those of you that are not familiar with the 10 personnel, a lot of this is due to Witten retiring. It is no tight ends and 4 wide receivers. They're looking to, knowing that they're getting these 8-man boxes, spread the field out. To kind of spread this out a little bit more so they can attack with Zeke a lot more. And then I look at the defense. Their defensive line actually is as loaded as it's been in years.
Yes, it is.
DeMarcus Lawrence,
Yeah.
if he can actually show that he's not one-year wonder here,
Beast mode.
we have our new special DeMarcus
Yeah.
along the line. I think Taco showed a lot of improvement as the season went on. His production nearly doubled in the second half of the season. Actually, more than doubled in the second half of the season.
From 0 to 2.
Shut up. He had a lot of almost.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Anyway, their secondary, I feel like, is they learned a lot. They were extremely green last year. There's a lot of talent that could be coming out in that secondary right now with my boy Cheeto and then Jordan Lewis.
Louisiana Tech alum Xavier Woods.
Boom! I love that also.
Yes, indeed.
I love their linebacker situation. A lot of that is, of course, Sean Lee has got to stay healthy, but
Big time.
I love LVE, Leighton Vander
Esch.
I love that pick. Absolutely love the pick. Jalen Smith, he actually makes me think of you a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. And I mean, the guy was going to be could have been a top 5 pick whenever he was coming out of Notre Dame, had it not been for that gruesome leg injury that he sustained
top 5
in the
pick
Fiesta
too,
Bowl.
I had it, man.
I know you could have. That's why we're buddies.
I was there.
But that linebacking core is stacked, in my opinion.
I hate
them losing Hitchens. Exactly. I hate the fact that they lost Hitchens because he was kind of the Swiss Army knife of that defense.
He's good. He's going to be good with Kansas City.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, Dad, dude, I would love to put him on here at the top of the map. I would love to say Dallas wins the Super Bowl. I would love to say that, but I can't.
Yeah. You gotta be real.
I know. So I'm saying second place in the division. That's where I see them finishing. They could get out as a wild card. I have not projected them as doing that, but it's possible. I don't think they will, but I think it's possible.
Hey man, it's more questions. There's more question marks in this division than the Riddler. You just don't know, man. It's like you really each team has promise, but then that what if fact.
Well, I'll tell you
There's
what.
a lot of what ifs.
There's one team that doesn't have a question.
Oh man, heck no.
That's the Philadelphia.
Oh man, we don't got to question them at all.
Those guys. I think all three of us unanimously agree that they're going to win the division again.
Yeah,
I think we all agree on that. Two fans of the division, it's hard to say that.
Bro, they got
sure.
2 possible Hall of Fame quarterbacks because
Nick
whether one got to say something about
no.
Nick Foles can be Hall of Fame caliber.
Nick Foles couldn't cut it in 2 other places.
I bet you Nick Foles could put together another season just like he did last season.
Well,
I bet you Nick could.
He will not get the chance in Philadelphia.
He had a postseason for the ages.
Yeah, I think he pulled a Joe Flacco. I think he just got hot.
Nick, people forget, man. Nick Foles was the heart of that team when Michael Vick went down. Nick Foles held it together then. Nick can do it.
And then they traded him.
I know they traded him, but he's back. Yeah. And he's still holding that team down. He held it down when their star quarterback went down again.
Nick Foles is the best insurance policy at quarterback that you're going to have.
Very true.
I'll say that, and I think all of us agree on that. Well, the proof is in the pudding.
Super Bowl MVP, you can't really say otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But you know who else was Super Bowl MVP? Joe Flacco. So, I mean, you can do it in 1 year.
Desmond Howard.
You know what?
Larry Brown.
You know what the difference between Joe Flacco and Nick Foles is?
Their height?
Joe Flacco, to me, got to the Super Bowl off a bunch of lucky, big-time throws.
That was a team of destiny. Much like Philadelphia was last year.
It was a team of destiny. To me, Nick Foles showed precision, man. He showed precision.
There was a lot of precision in his passes.
He showed poise. He showed the fact that he didn't fold under pressure.
But their defense was
and he got to the Super Bowl
year.
and threw for over 400 yards on that Patriots defense. Man, you cannot.
And was still the second best quarterback in that game.
Are you serious?
Man, Tom Brady threw for 500
yards.
yards.
Sorry. Well, he sure caught a touchdown that your Tom Brady couldn't catch. The exact same damn play that old molasses couldn't catch.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
All right. Okay. So
Tom Brady's got 5 Super Bowls.
Man, Super Bowl. So he may got 5 Super Bowl, but he also can get 5 knots on his head too.
Well, that'll match the Super Bowl rings that he has.
Yeah, but it's gonna have like Superman emblems on him.
Yeah, 5 of them.
So he's gonna have like 5 Superman emblems on his head.
Yeah, but he can cover them with 5 Super Bowl rings.
He can. Well, then I'll give him one more.
Let's get off the Brady bunch here real quick.
It's my fantasy football team name, the Brady Bunch.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
I've had Tom Brady on my fantasy team for 10 years.
Oh man, I just
Look.
pooped myself.
You're not sitting in that chair anymore.
That's incredible.
You're gonna have
Tom Brady's greatness made him
You're gonna have
defecate in his pants.
Listen.
Tom Brady turdness made me turd myself.
Listen, Linda, listen. I gotta go. I gotta do this.
How did we get on the Patriots again?
Why are we talking
Yes,
about
exactly.
these dudes, man?
Oh, man.
Okay, enough
great.
with the Pats. Let's hop back. Let's hop back onto the Eagles. They're still loaded. They're still stacked. They
arguably got better.
They didn't lose anything.
They did.
Well,
get
they
better.
got better.
Except their offensive coordinator, Frank Wright. That's the only thing they lost.
Quarterbacks coach, DiFilippo, went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And DiFilippo is a quarterback whisperer. I was wanting that guy to be the offensive coordinator in New York, but they freaking stonewalled him and said no, refused the interview. It's whatever. But I think they got Michael Bennett, which is an underrated move. That pass rush is going to be
Nasty.
fierce. Brandon
Nasty.
Graham,
Fletcher Cox.
Michael Bennett. Who's the guy they drafted last year?
I think
Barnett.
Derek
I
Barnett.
think the Super Bowl is what made them get Michael Bennett. I really do. I think that Super Bowl not being able to get any pressure on Brady was what made them go.
They sure got
They're
pressure on
still
them at
in
the
that
end.
window.
At the end, yeah, but that was on a tired offensive line.
Well, they're still in that window where they don't have to pay their quarterback right now quarterback money. He's still on his rookie deal, so they can
referring
afford.
to Wentz, who
they
looked
can
like a potential MVP last year prior to the injury.
He set the record for quarterback or touchdowns by Philly quarterback before he got injured.
Yeah, and
So-
there were still games to play.
Absolutely. So I think this team. I mean, they got rid of LeGarrette Blount. I think Jay Ajayi will be able to pick that up.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the forgotten running back in that division right now.
Alshon Jeffrey, that is a big question mark though. Their receiving core, because he played with a torn labrum last year and then just got surgery to fix it in February. So now he's on the PUP list. And we'll see how he comes back. I mean, playing with a torn labrum that's tough man football right there.
Yeah, man.
It really
And
is.
it obviously worked out because he got himself a ring.
That's called Philly football.
Absolutely.
Man. They tough over there, dude.
And we forget they lost Jason Peters last year too. They're
That's
one of the
true.
best offensive tackles in football and still won the Super Bowl. They get him back.
I predict
You know?
we haven't seen the last of Nick Foles.
You think so? I think he'll get traded.
I predict that Wentz goes down again.
You think so?
I predict that he goes down again, and good old Foles come in and save the day.
I'll say this.
I would love to see that.
I don't advocate for quarterbacks getting injured, so I hope to see. I don't want Wentz to be one of those what ifs. Even though he's on the Philadelphia Eagles, you don't get players that are special like that very often.
Yeah, but he likes to take too many hits.
That's true, and maybe
that's his problem.
this torn ACL is an eye opener. The way it
would
was
need
for
to be.
Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson took a lot of shots when he first came in, and now you don't really see him taking as many shots because he said he garbage offensive line. He was like, maybe I need to change the way I play so I can play longer than 6 years.
Speaking of which, I want to see is Andrew Luck has his tune changed, and will he stop taking all those hits?
I hope
He's
so,
going to
man.
need to.
You know what I mean?
The league is better when Luck is playing. That guy's a physical force.
Yeah, I mean he's good, but man,
He took the Colts to the AFC Championship game, and after he got hurt, they've been the bottom dwellers.
Man, can I please not talk about the Colts right now because I got a problem with them.
Well,
let's
how about this? Because we've actually run on our longest show to date. So how about we go ahead and just have any closing remarks? Okay. So, Jevon, you got anything to add real quick?
quickly? I think I love the NFC East. I hate the AFC. I hate the AFC East, but I like the NFC East because it's always a question mark division. You never know. And
You're right.
And as football fans, we like that factor of not knowing.
Yeah, that unpredictability.
Yeah, we like that unpredictability. So
Everybody
and
loves
I
an
think,
outlier.
And I think that's to sum up this whole debate that we had about the NFC East. So
That's why
Agreed.
we talked about them a lot longer than we did the AFC East.
yeah, big time.
You
Yes,
go
sir.
from the most predictable to the least predictable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you look geographically, they're they're right there with each other, but they could not possibly be any more on opposite ends of the spectrum than what they are.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And which is amazing.
Yes, sir.
And, we've had shows that have, gone 40 minutes. This one here is approaching damn near an hour and a half. So
Let's rock.
we've talked about the shortest one. Now we're going on the longest one. And that's basically how the divisions are.
Yeah.
One end to the other.
Yes, indeed.
And that's where we're at. That's where we're done. So, guys, with that, thank y'all so much for watching. We definitely been talking so much, I'm starting to get tongue-tied. It's bound to happen at some point.
It happens, baby.
Yes.
It happens.
Thank you so much for watching and taking so much time out of your busy schedule. We definitely appreciate it. And this is Sports at Night. Real fans, real talk. Todd Knight, Will Michael Trahan, Jevon Superman Miller. Thank you guys again so much for watching. We'll
Go Atlanta
see you
Braves.
on the other side, baby.
See ya. Go Broncos.
Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Talking about go Broncos.
Yeah, for the season, baby. You gotta win the Super Bowl. You gotta win the Super Bowl.
We good again.
Was it? That's nice. Okay, well, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, it's,
I mean, it was good, but anyway.
what? Oh, what?
Oh,
we still
oh, yeah,
talking?
sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Ha. See you later.